The most mysterious thing that has ever happened in my apartment building happened this week when one of our tenants disappeared. In today's video, I will explain exactly what I mean by that. And also, if you want to see the full version of this video, make sure to follow and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. This is a 32-unit apartment building located in the heart of Manhattan. I am the super and part-time handyman who takes care of everything around here. One of our tenants in Unit 3B, Mr. Williams, has been living here for over a decade. He's an older gentleman in his early 60s who works as a librarian. For the past few years, he's had some pretty serious health problems, including kidney failure, which requires him to go through dialysis 3 times a week. As his super, I have a key to his apartment in case of emergencies. And during those times, I would often drop everything to help him out. Over time, we've become quite friendly. So when I heard he was going back into the hospital for another round of dialysis, I decided to surprise him by doing his groceries for him. So off I went to the local supermarket to pick up some healthy food for him. When I got to the apartment and knocked on the door, there was no reply. So I used my key to enter the apartment. This is where things started to get very strange. There was food all over the floor. It looked like a small animal had died in the middle of the night and was left to rot. And then there were cobwebs everywhere. It looked like the apartment hadn't been cleaned in months. On the kitchen counter was a note that read, "I'm sorry for leaving like this, but I had to go away for my own safety. Please forgive me." And signed off with your friend, Mr. Williams. His glasses were sitting on the table, his dialysis machine was off, and the tank was empty. All of his medication was gone from the pharmacy bag, and lastly, his wallet was missing. At first, I thought this was just another one of his weird quirks. He sometimes forgets things or leaves the stove on. But this was different. As I walked out of the apartment, I noticed that his air conditioner was removed from the window. Usually he keeps it there year-round because he gets cold very easily. And then I saw the most shocking thing yet. His front door was wide open. So I did something that any normal super would do in this situation. I immediately called the police and explained to them what had happened. An hour later, 2 officers showed up to investigate. They found no signs of forced entry, and nothing seemed to be stolen. They asked me if I knew anyone who might have been in contact with Mr. Williams recently, so I gave them the number of his niece. In the meantime, I went to the local deli and asked the owner if he had seen Mr. Williams recently, but he said that he hadn't. After the cops left, I was worried that Mr. Williams could have gotten hurt, so I called his niece to check up on him. Her name is Susan, and she lives in New Jersey. She told me that her uncle had been staying with her for the last few weeks, while he recovered from his illness. But that he had gone back to his apartment 2 days ago, because he wanted to be on his own. We decided to call the police again, and ask them to perform a wellness check. This time they let Susan come along. When they entered the apartment, they found something that made us all gasp. There was a pile of clothes on the bed, like someone had just thrown their entire closet onto the mattress. And then there was a hole in the middle of it. At first, we assumed that maybe Mr. Williams had taken his own life, but after looking closer, we realized that that wasn't the case. There was no sign of struggle, and the hole appeared to have been recently dug. Susan started to panic. She asked the officers to cover up the hole and not tell anyone about what they had found, because she didn't want people to know that her uncle was a murder victim. At this point, I was confused and a bit angry. I told her that it doesn't matter if her uncle is dead or alive at this point. The whole building needs to be aware of what's happening in case the murderer comes back. But Susan insisted that we keep quiet and pay for the repairs ourselves. She even offered to give me $5,000 in cash if I agreed. Well, I appreciate money as much as the next guy, but I couldn't agree to that. I work hard to maintain the integrity of the building, and keeping a secret like this could endanger the safety of everyone living here. So I politely refused her offer and told her that I would do whatever I needed to do to protect the building and its residents. After calling the police, I knew that I had to take matters into my own hands. I went to Home Depot and bought some plywood to cover up the hole. But as I was walking inside, one of the screws hit the loose floorboard, and suddenly the whole thing collapsed. Everyone stared at me as I fell into the basement, but I quickly regained my composure and started to inspect the damage. It looked like the hole had been dug out recently with a frickin' shovel. And then I noticed something else. Someone had climbed down into the basement through this hole before. There was a set of muddy footprints right near the edge, which meant that whoever dug this hole had fled before Mr. Williams returned home. I took some photos with my phone and sent them to the police, but they didn't seem too interested in coming back. That's when I decided to hire a private investigator. A few days later, the Pi came back with good news. He had found out who dug the hole. And guess who it was? None other than Mr. Williams himself. He had done this weeks ago, and had been hiding in the basement ever since, according to the Pi. Mr. Williams had been struggling with his health and finances and felt like he had no other option but to disappear. He withdrew all of his savings and cashed in his retirement fund to buy a small piece of land out of state where he planned to live out the rest of his days. He also told the Pi that he was planning to leave town the day after he dug the hole, but for some reason changed his mind and decided to stay in the basement instead. Now the question is, why would he do something like that? Why didn't he just tell someone that he was moving instead of hiding in the basement? Well, I don't know exactly why he did what he did, but I think he was afraid of losing his independence. Mr. Williams has always been a proud man, and he probably didn't feel comfortable asking for help. He thought that by disappearing, he would be able to keep his dignity and not be a burden to anyone. It's been a week since he was found, and he's now moved into a care home. Susan was very grateful for my help and paid me the $5,000 that she had promised, plus another $3,000 for damages. Overall, it's a happy ending for everyone involved. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you want to hear more stories like this, subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.